In this episode of Scaling Life, Peter Erik is revealing some of his addicted personality traits. We are talking about golfing, identity, midlife crisis, and moving houses. Enjoy. Tell me about why did you start playing golf?
20 years ago, some friends of mine started to play golf, and then I was so into being an entrepreneur and drinking alcohol and partying. So I was thinking like I can't get addicted to one more thing. And I also figured out that my friends who was playing golf, they used like 4, 5, 10, 20 hours per week. And I didn't see how I can do it. And I know I have an addicted personality. So when I start on something, I get addicted. The same thing, now I've not been drinking alcohol for over a year. Now I'm addicted to not drink alcohol. And if I start again, I will be addicted to that. So there is no middle in my life. That was why I didn't start before. But then we moved to Vietnam and we got some friends there, some Australian friends and also from England. And there is so many that are playing golf and they start to ask us, when are we going to start to play golf? And really pushed us to do it. And then we had a plan to start under COVID. We bought a package and the day was going to start, they closed the border with where the golf course was. So we couldn't go there. And then we waited 2 more years and then we started. I really don't know who is most addicted now because I think you are more addicted than me. so even but no. And then I figure out that I want to play a tournament because I want to challenge myself. And I know I will be the last one in the tournament. I know I will be the worst player, but I have a goal that it will be one behind me. So that's my goal for the tournament. So for me, it's more fun to play golf when I have something to look forward to. That's everything in life. I need to have a goal. I need to have something with it. And that's so what about you? Why did you start to play golf?
Honestly, I don't know. When I thought about this episode, I thought it would be about golf and identity. And I think for me, that's a really interesting connection because I honestly, when I grew up, I didn't know anyone that played golf. I thought it was like a very super snobby thing to do. And I was really, 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 really skeptical. And I was definitely not defining myself as a golf player. And then I remember the first time we had like this PT sessions in school where one of my classmates were supposed to kind of arrange a PT session. And what happened was he took us to a golf course and we were on the driving range and trying to hit the balls. And I found it so fun. And I was so surprised because I was like, I still had this idea that it was super snobby. And then I didn't do it for a long time. And I think I came to this point, as you say, with so many of our friends playing and also thinking about like an activity that we can do for the rest of our lives because it's actually physically challenging, but it's not so physically challenging. Like we see people that are 70, 80, 90 even years old that can still play. So I thought for me it's kind of some kind of long-term investment now in something that I can do. And then when I started to play golf, as you say, like I just found it to be super fun. And now maybe I'm addicted to it, but I think it's a good addiction because we are actually out, we can play, we can drill, we can talk more about that because I think that's one of the most challenging things is just the kind of how many times you have to repeat the exact same movement to get it right. One of my other things is this just driving around in the golf car. Here in Asia, we have like everyone has their own caddy, and we have a golf car, so we can just drive around on the golf course in the car, and I love that. And I think sometimes I think you think it's like a go-kart, but it goes really slow. So always trying to push it to the limit. I think
it's Super Mario. I'm thinking like it's a Super Mario Kart.
Yes.
It's a little bit slow, but sometimes I hope that I could just throw this pedal either more down and then it go faster.
Yes. Yeah, and then we got to spend time together.
For me also, it's back to doing something different than working. And because it's so hard, I talked about it before, but I got this concept, or I've got more and more read books about entrepreneurship and read books about how to succeed, and it's also good to have more breaks. And I didn't have that for many years. I was just working, and didn't have anything more to do. So taking more care of myself, but also have something that to get my brain out of it. And before skiing is one thing, but also when I'm playing golf, I'm so focused on that. So I don't think about other things with work and all these things. And I think that's also make me like a better businessman or a better entrepreneur to just have other things to do. And I know that so many entrepreneurs are saying to me, like, I don't have time to do anything. And I don't think that's right. I think you just need to pull in time, and you will be, at least I believe that I get more successful with doing other things and having that. And also, like you said, doing something else together when we're working together and not talk about work, then we're talking about golf.
As you say, it's kind of funny because we actually find like even 15 hours per week to play golf. And those hours, I didn't even know that I had them. And it is all about prioritization. And it's fun because when we are doing those things, and for example, when we're playing a game in the morning, so we're playing from 7 to 12, and then we come home and we go to work. And then I'm much more effective because I have been out, because I have been doing something else. I have not been thinking about work. And I think sometimes we, as you say, we tend to think that like entrepreneurship is just about sitting there and kind of crazy working and putting in all the hours. And honestly, I feel like I'm doing as much per week now as I did before. I'm just having more time to do other things as well. Okay. Let's talk about the discipline, like the practice of doing the the same movement and the swing and the setup again and again and again and again and again and again.
In the start, I hated it. It was so boring. It's like, why should I do this? And especially when you do something that you don't get result from. You're just failing. I had the same thing when I'm playing tennis. I'm just failing. But we come to a point that you see you get better. I think it's a lesson for many things in life that we are, if things are not working, we are just jumping to the next thing, jumping to next thing, and jumping to next thing. For me, this is a really good metaphor to, when I coach people and mentoring people now, I use that like a metaphor because there's so many like, oh, I want to make a new product, or I need to do that. And it's the same thing. Oh, I want to try to change the swing, or I want to try another club, or I want to do this, or even just giving up. So this discipline thing, doing the same thing again and again and again, is the same thing we are talking with our clients. Like, you need to do the same webinar again and again and again, but people want to change it. It's the same thing with golf.
I find it surprising and also actually fun to realize how much just comes from the tiny details of the setting up and the technique. Like one of our friends said, Maria, you're going to be better in Petre quickly because men think about like just the power, but it isn't really about the power. It is about the technique. I haven't gotten better than you, but but it's more about just doing all the small details and really focusing. And I find it's a mental game as well. It's a very mental game actually, because both the persistence of like doing the same setup and paying attention to all the details. And then if you have like a bad hit, then you have to set up again and not go into this like, and kind of give up or not pay attention, because then it's not just going to be bad. And for me, I find like every time when we play an 18-hole game, like around hole 9 or the 9th hole, usually that's when I start getting hungry and mentally tired. So I find it like always when I come to like around hole 9 and 10, I really need to be on top of my mental game, because otherwise I will have this one of these games where I use like however many shots to get the ball in the hole, and that's because I kind of lose that focus. I think it's really a good exercise on keeping myself focused. And I do think that just concentration it requires, it's actually a different type of concentration from other sports I've been doing. It's probably a lot of concentration and kind of focus and details in other sports as well, but in golf it's gotten super, super visible for me, or I've been so focused on it also because our trainer is like, it is about doing the same thing like many, many, many times and keeping the focus. Yeah, so I think I'm taking that focus and concentration, I'm practicing the focus and concentration, and it actually affects my work.
And it's also another lesson that I think a lot of, and also you with your new personal development course, you have an exercise about this, but it's competing with yourself instead of competing with others. Because golf is really like you're competing with your own handicap, but that's also whatever you're doing. If you're running, if you are skiing, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're selling, if you are doing copywriting, if there is something, it's all about the competing. Of course, you can compete with others, but just first compete with yourself. Like you be a better person, and take it to the next level. And that's really easy when you have a handicap. But I think so many are just looking for other people and what they're doing and trying to compete with them, and they get sad or they feel like nothing is working instead of competing with yourself and And I like that concept. I'm always competing with myself, even with work. I'm always trying to be better. Of course, there is an inspiration to compete with others also, but most of all, see that you are improving.
So let's talk about identity, because for me, as I said, when I grew up, or like the first time I tried golf for many years, I thought this is something that I want to be doing and it's not for me. Like it was my identity around who I was and what golf was, and now I'm actually doing it and I'm having fun with it, and I can even envision me doing it this for the for the rest of my life. And so I had this also because I'm working on the personal development program. I had this exercise with people where they kind of identifying who they are, or writing down who they are. And I have this realization that humans, and I think you and I think other entrepreneurs, like we change identity quite a lot. We aren't the people, we aren't the same person as we were like a few years ago. And I just realized this for myself. And it's actually interesting and a bit surprising, because I thought at some point that identity was kind of very set, or it was very stiff, or it was kind of, I was the person I was. And I'm kind of happy to discover that that isn't so, and that I always have the chance to change. You have changed through the years we work together. Like you said you've been workaholic, like you have an addicted personality, so you kind of go from one side to the other. Do you ever reflect on like how your identity is changing?
Maybe it's my identity, but I look at I am more confident in myself. So I think also that's also a part that I didn't start to play golf because I think, oh, I am so bad, everyone will beat me. But no, I just don't care. I think that's kind of also why I'm trying more things now that I think was not scary, but I didn't feel comfortable because I'm not like really a sports talent. But now I'm more about trying out things, and I don't care so much that someone is better than myself. And as like you said, it's more about competing with myself and see that I'm improving instead of looking at other and thinking like, oh, you think I'm bad in golf, or you think I'm not good in golf, or you don't think I'm good in that, or because I'm doing my best and I'm happy with that. So so maybe it's the identity, but I also think it's something with life experience, and don't looking at what others are thinking so much, and just be there, because it's all about to be a human and being there. So no one are laughing because I'm not good in something. I'm just the best version of myself. So it could be identity, but I also think about trying new things. And I think both of us have done so much personal development, and if you read a book about personal development or business development, and it's all about to try out new things that you think will not work out for you or your company. And that's kind of a mindset I get over here. I need to try out new things. I don't know if I said it before, but I got this aha moment for myself when I saw a lot of older people than me started to talk about how old they are and what they cannot do when they get older. And I figured out I don't want to be that person. I think it's all about to be in the box, the A4 box, or like if you get older and you are in the box, I think the box gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller if you're not challenging in it. And that's something that are really important for me. I always need to challenge myself every year with something I feel is uncomfortable, something I don't think I'm good at, something that, and it could be, it doesn't need to be sport, it could be everything in life, it could be something else also. So if I'm doing that every year, I think I'll have an open mind when I'm 80 or 90 or 100, and I will do much more fun stuff when I'm older.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about what you say about identity, that you're getting more confident and also more willing to try things that you don't really think that you're maybe going to be super successful at, but you're still doing it. And I think that's part of doing all the personal development and growing as a person and being willing to go out of the comfort zone. For me, at least, I have a much more open definition of myself. And it's not like my identity. I think before, when I was like 25, I feel like my identity was super fixed, or I had these thoughts about who I was, and I felt like it was very set. But now I feel like, but I can choose every day, and I can choose to be a golfer even if I want to. And it's really nice to not take it so seriously. You very often also say that entrepreneurship is a game, and I feel like sometimes being here on earth and living a life like it's a game, and we can choose every day how we show up and what we do and who we are. And it's like my sons play these video games, and they can change the outfit. Like one day they have like this type of hair, and the other day they had like long hair, and then they had like a wool face mask something, and then they have a cape, and it's like every day they're changing how they look. And I actually do think that we can change our identities, or we can take the role of what is needed, and just being more flexible with that and having fun with it, and not taking it super seriously. I'm like, I have to be the best golfer there is, because that would never happen. Then I wouldn't have started. It's just having fun with seeing what happens.
So what do you think is the biggest change for you over the last 10 years?
I feel like one of the things that I'm teaching in this personal development course, for example, is the self confidence, or the like I call it an unwavering self confidence or something like that. And it's just knowing that I'm going to be okay, and that I am okay, even if I fail, or if I say something wrong, or if things doesn't go as planned, or if I make a fool of myself, or I'm not good at golf, or whatever, and just kind of owning that humanness, and that makes me so much more relaxed. Like, I've been such a control freak for a big part of my life, and I feel like the last few years, and even the last months, like I'm just allowing things to happen, and allowing myself to be myself, and just not kind of freak out so much about the process or the result. And that's actually much more relaxing, and it's much more fun, because now I'm exploring, and I'm on this journey. Did you answer that question? What you changed most in the last 10 years?
If there is a belief I have changed, is that I didn't do so much workout or training or take care of my body and health and eating habits and all these things. But I don't know if it was because we moved to Vietnam, but I think the journey started there. I was doing some workout before, but it started to be more regular. I also did this 75 hard for a couple of years ago. I was thinking this morning that maybe I should do it again, because now I'm fitter than I was last time, so maybe I get better result now. So 75 hard, it's Andy Frisella who made a challenge that they called mental toughness, and it's a challenge where you're going to work out 2 times a day, 45 minutes for 75 days. I'm going to drink 4 liters with water. Going to
no alcohol, be on a diet, or eat healthy?
No alcohol, being on a diet, no sugar. I think that's all. I'm going to do that for 75 days. The first time I tried it, I made it for 18 days. And the point is, like, if you don't drink 4 liters with water one day, even if you have done all the other things, you need to fail and you can start again. There is an app also, it's free. I did it again, and I think I get to 25 days. And then I failed again. And I started again. So it took me 75 plus 25 plus 18 days. So I was actually almost doing it for 1.5 months before I get through it. But after that, it's also about a habit, because I saw that how good it was to cut out sugar, how good it was to work out 2 times a day. And I think the biggest thing with that is to doing some extreme thing is that you change. And right now you're also doing a challenge. You can talk about that.
Yes, I'm doing a week challenge.
Yeah.
Which is called the Hell Week, and I'm up at 5 a.m. also exercising hard every day and doing some morning routines. It's actually really nice. This morning I was out on the beach when the sun was up, coming up, and that was really nice. And I thought I should do this every day. Like the point of these challenges is to kind of go extreme for a while, for like a short while. I know 75 days is much longer than a week, but to kind of prove for yourself that you actually can do things, and also get a taste of how it is to actually go to the extreme. And I think that's the really useful learning of it, is like, wow, I don't have a problem of going up at 5 a.m. in the morning for a week, and really, like, I can still focus on work, and I can still get things done, and I can exercise really hard every day, and I'm still, like, my body isn't cracking down or kind of failing me, and I'm strong enough to do that. And that's both physically and mentally challenging, and that's when you see that you can do things that you maybe didn't think you could before.
And also, like you said before, you can find time for it. Because so many say, I also believe that, how can I find 2 times, like 2 hours per day to work out or train or do something, because I'm working so much. But when you start to just decide to do it, you find time. It's like golf is like everything else, and someone says like, oh, I'm so busy. But I think many people are busy because they're thinking too much. That's my thing. I think the busyness is more in the head and really actually doing stuff. If you do other activities, or other than work, or if you're an entrepreneur, other than being an entrepreneur, if you do other things, I also think that you get, or I know for myself that I got more effective. I can do the same. I know that you say sometimes, oh, Patrick, you're working too much. But I know that for 4 years ago, had more hours in the calendar to work. It's just like now I start the day later. So, and I feel like I'm doing the same. I'm doing the same for the time. It's also the same. Like I'm saying to my staff, someone of them is saying, oh, I work 12 hours every day. Yeah, but then there's something wrong because you can do the job on 8 hours. I think that's something that all of us can look at. It's not about to work more. It's to do things, do more of the most important thing in a shorter time. I think that's all in life. If you do that, you get more happy and you get more success and you have a healthier life. And we're also in a big change with a lot of things in our life now. And that's also maybe affect our identity because Sigurd is moving out. He's starting on university. Vemund got older. He got a girlfriend, so we're almost not seeing anymore. I think it's more about you, how your life changed when your kids are growing up.
I actually saw a reel on Facebook the other day that was about how teenage parents aren't prepared for the sadness of their kids growing up. And I'm almost crying when I say it because I knew it would come, but it is so sad isn't the right word because it isn't really sad. I'm super happy to see them become adults and to take responsibility and to make good choices. And I'm really proud of myself, but it is really weird when you have kind of taken someone from tiny baby, even like in my belly, and now they're just taller than me and they're moving out. It's a great opportunity. And also it's definitely related to my identity because I've been identifying as a mom. If you ask me, like, who are you? I would say mom very quickly. And I probably still will, but now because they are moving out, it's freeing up space. It's freeing up for me to do other things, to focus on other things, to have other choices. And it is really interesting to be in that phase and because it's a transition. And then on top of that, you were going to say something.
No?
We're moving houses. Weren't you going to talk about that?
I don't know. No, that was you who want to talk about that. We had the same house for almost 4 years, and now we are moving to another place. And I also think, I don't know if it's identity, but we have different needs and thoughts about and what we're looking for, or maybe not, but some part of us, I don't think we are not agreeing, but we have different needs, and that's also kind of our identity. So when you are moving house, what is the most important thing for you?
That it feels nice. It feels like a home. We've been talking about this in previous episodes about, like, for me, when we uprooted from Norway, came here, my whole concept of like home and belonging and things were shaking. And I think that's why I also feel super vulnerable every time we're actually moving houses, because I feel like there's some kind of support system in having a base and having a place where my things are and where I know and where my bed is, where I can sleep and where I can rest and where I can be safe and where the people that I love can spend time. And the most important thing is when you ask the question now, I feel like it has to feel like a home. It has to feel supportive and safe and cozy. And yeah, I think that's actually the most important thing.
That's a lot of word, and I don't understand what you mean with it. It's like cozy, safe. It's hard for me to go out with and say, oh, is this a house? Because it's a house we're looking for. Is this a home? Yeah, we're looking for a home. So what do you mean with it?
So homestay in Vietnam is basically this concept of like a family living in a home and then they're renting out rooms. So it's kind of a basic hotel. So most of the homestays, like, they have numbers on the rooms and you can come in from the garden and go directly into the room. And I'm looking for something that just feels more contained, I think. And I think maybe it has a lot to do with energy. It has to do with my need to maybe have like a space for our family or a space to kind of hold what we're doing. We have our offices also in our house. Even like having the office and the rooms where we're living in that same house, and there's something about like the containing of the energy of that. For some reason, I feel that's important. And I don't know if I can explain it to you because you're not so into all this energy stuff that I'm talking about. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what is important to you then?
I always want to up the game.
Yeah.
So it need to be
better than the previous one.
Better than the previous one. If not, I am feeling like I'm on the way to die. So if I find a house that are lower range of how nice is, I think it's all about the waking up in the morning and feeling inspired that here I want to stay. Also because I'm working from home the most time. So it's something I need to get inspired. I'm working with sales. I'm working with entrepreneurship. I need to just feel good about it. And if I see something that are falling apart, I'm not detail oriented, but I get really frustrated if I see something that are not matching in the house how it was built, and it need to be styled. And another thing, I need space. I know that we have some discussion about we are not going to spend too much money to rent a house, but I also need space. It need to be many rooms. It needs to be space. It can't be. If I feel locked in, I just feel like I'm not jail, and I don't want to have that feeling. I need to have openness and. Yeah, and I know many of our friends like, why are you looking for so big house? And it's all about, but I'm working there, I'm living there, and I also need to wake up and feel happy and good about things. So
one of the things I find fascinating and kind of as a good opportunity is that we don't own a house. So there's like many reasons, but now because we're here and it's not easy for foreigners to own a house in Vietnam, we are renting. And of course, that's kind of threatening to my need to really root and feel like this is safe and this is my home. But it's a good opportunity. As you say, we actually have the chance to upgrade and to look for something bigger or better or kind of adjust our needs. And I feel like one of the things that has happened with all our moving houses was because the kids grew, because we grew as people, because our company grew, because our needs changed, maybe our identity changed. We also kind of needed a different kind of house. Because the first house was great for a while, and then we were like, this isn't we need something that can kind of grow with us, or we are developing ourselves so much. And I think that's one of the super interesting things about being an entrepreneur is how we develop our personalities, how we develop our skills, how we see that more is possible, and we grow like our expectations or our wants at the same time. So I think it's a good opportunity to be in this phase where, even if it's a bit scary and uprooting, it's really good to really go inside and think about what do I want and what do I need and what are our needs together as a family as well.
What is my biggest challenge with that is like we are in a place that we want to invest and we want to have, and I know that we have this discussion about it, but I just figure out over the time I live that more you own, more problems you get. So I always have this discussion with myself when we talk about investing in or building our own house. It's like, but then we are more like set. Then we like, okay, of course we can sell it, but we just have something we need to take care of. Now it's really easy for us to move on if we want to do that. We get more freedom. Maybe we want to move to another country. Maybe we want to do something else. And that's also, it's easier to just leave when we don't own it. So, but that's something are going on in my head all the time. Maybe it's an identity problem. Thank you so much for listening to this episode.
To dig deeper, visit awesome.com/scalinglife. That's awesm.com/scalinglife. You'll find show notes, resources, and links mentioned in this episode, as well as links to our socials.
If you like what you heard, please rate and review us on the podcast platform of your choice. Your feedback is so important to help more entrepreneurs to discover this show.
Our goal is to provide inspiration, and we hope you'll continue scaling alongside us. Thanks for your support, and see you next time.